So starting out, we looked at an introduction of Revit MEP. We talked about the interface, how to customize the interface, keyboard shortcuts. We talked about working with the included files. And then we looked at views when we first open up a project. We talked about project files, family files, templates, system families, and in-place families. Then we looked at what's new within the latest version of Revit MEP. Then we talked about some of the basic creation tools, such as how do you open a standalone MEP project? How do you view the model in 2D, in 3D? And then we explored the systems tabs, such as HVAC and mechanical, fabrication, plumbing, piping, and electrical. From there, we looked at the basic Revit editing tools, such as moving, copying, pasting, rotating, mirroring, creating arrays, extending, trimming, aligning things, offsetting things, and creating groups and the best practices for creating groups. From there, we created a new MEP project. We talked about how to link in an architectural Revit model into our project. If you do that, we talked about how to monitor it, how to actually include levels, grids, MEP fixtures, and then how to know basically how you're coordinating with the individuals within your group. We also looked at the project information of your project, how the various settings are set, and how to change that information. From there, we looked at two ways to save the MEP project. One is standalone if you're working by yourself, or in a shared environment, such as work sharing. We talked about creating local files and linking in CAD files such as architectural elevations or floor plans. From there, we looked at view control. Basically, inside of our Revit model, how do you create views such as sections, elevations, callouts? We also talked about understanding in a 3D model what is the depth range or view range of the actual view you're looking at. We created view templates. We talked about three-dimensional scope boxes and section boxes. From there, we defined spaces and zones. We added rooms, spaces, tags, separated spaces, and we looked at how we could control area and volume calculation and color schemes based upon these. From there, we went into energy analysis. Since we had our spaces and our floors and our rooms, we looked at the energy analysis, how to set up energy analysis, how to run that, and then how to export out for secondary analysis. From there, we went into systems. We first of all talked about the system browser. We kind of looked at it as an overview for HVAC and plumbing, and then we talked about system checks. Then we got into specific systems. We first started with our HVAC system. We looked at mechanical settings for our ductwork, air terminals, mechanical equipment, and then we learned how to place our ducts. We learned how to add insulation, lining, and modify our ducts. We talked about fittings and accessories to the duct system and how to automatically lay out duct systems. Then we moved into piping systems, such as a hydronic piping system. We talked about its settings, the elements within the system, the mechanical equipment, and again, how to add our various pipes, parallel pipes, modifying the pipes, pipe accessories, and how to automatically lay out pipe systems. We then moved into other plumbing systems. We talked about creating plumbing fixtures and modifying those fixtures. Then how do you generate, again, plumbing layouts, including plumbing systems. We also talked about fire protection as it relates to plumbing, sprinklers, sprinkler systems, and the sprinkler pipe layouts. From there, we moved into electrical. We looked at electrical settings, the different components of electrical, such as lighting, electrical equipment, and electrical devices. We talked about creating circuits, switch systems, power circuits, cable trays, and conduit. We also looked at electrical panel schedules, how to create those schedules and modify those schedules. We also went into other types of schedules, MEP schedules, such as lighting schedules, system schedules, even a material takeoff schedule. Then we got into detailing, and this really got into 2D, where we created details, we added information or annotation to those details, and then saved them out. Saved them as things such as drafting views. And then we also looked at how to detail or add 2D detail in 3D, how to import details if we've already created those, then how to make a legend of all the symbols within our details. After that, and our model was complete, we looked at documenting this, basically creating our sheets, placing our views on our sheets, our title blocks, how to actually edit things once we place them on our sheet. Also after that, we looked at adding revisions, dimensions, tags, and text, and then finally printing those sheets. Work sharing, how to set up work sharing, how to set up users, who takes ownership of the Revit model, how you can add people or detach people, how can you look at the history, or if there's an issue, how you restore things. And then lastly, we looked at how do we present everything. We looked at adding materials into our model for our walls, floors, and various fixtures. We created images, we exported the images, and lastly, we created a walkthrough of our actual space. I hope you enjoyed the actual lessons, and I hope you enjoyed the course.